Okay.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Velasquez, holistic psychotherapist and yoga and meditation teacher. I'm here again with Bill O'Haron, who is my spiritual mentor and dear friend who I've known for at least 15 years, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
3.
16, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm so blessed to be here today. You have a wealth of knowledge, insight, and your dynamic personality will keep us all engaged. So the last talk we did was on Kundalini. If you have not listened to it, please do. We are now going to talk about dark nights of the soul and actually the connection between Kundalini. Yeah. Kundalini equals dark nights of the soul. There's 100%. No way around it. I'm going to let you start talking about it and chime in.
Yeah. So
the dark night of the soul.
Dark night of the soul. It's actually an old term. I think it's back hundreds of years back.
St. John of the Cross, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. And really what it was is the saints going through their openings where they were physically kind of unraveling, and it was such a physical challenge to be in the presence of God and the Spirit that they started calling this dark night of the soul, that it was so difficult. Kind of moving forward, anybody and everybody can and should at some point, for better or for worse, really needs to happen. The dark night of the soul is simply that experience of feeling like everything is kind of bleak. And we mentioned it before in our last video, it's really the breakdown of the rational mind. You know, the rational mind wants to order things. It's designed to order, to put things into place, to materialize its concepts. It's linear. Our emotional body is not linear. Our emotional body is this world of experiences, past, present, future, whatever you want to call it. Dark night of the soul is the entrance of all this uncomfortable emotions meeting the rational mind. The rational mind's like, this is way too much. And it creates this feeling of, I'm not sure if I can make it. I'm not sure if I can make it through that dark night. And it's interesting, bizarre, it's curious when counselors, when people, seekers, explorers like you and I encourage people to get into that uncomfortable place. We were talking about in the last video in Kundalini. We need to find that dark night of the soul. It's painful, it's uncomfortable, but in there is all the intelligence of why you're here, why you're here, who you are, and what your mission is. If you want to know your mission, you have to enter that, as Jung says, the cave. The cave's that dark night. You enter it by going on the cushion right now. Daylight, nighttime, doesn't matter. Find a cushion, find a comfortable spot, sit quietly, close your eyes, get your spine straight, and just listen to your heart. That's the entrance. That's the portal. That's the entryway to the dark night of the soul.
And I think it is about, in my experience, I've certainly experienced many dark nights of the soul, for better or for worse, the blessing, of it all.
Yeah.
And we'll have more, I'm sure, that will continue. But what was I going to say about it? It manifests as, it could be crying, and it's a release. We talked about that a little bit before.
Yeah.
Just it could be on the ground and a feeling of just your heart opening, and a shedding. It's almost like a shedding or a coming unraveled. And, it's also the experience of aligning with your soul.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that metaphor of, the caterpillar becoming a butterfly and, birthing your own soul, essentially. And
absolutely.
I see so many parallels because I had 2 natural births. So many parallels for, the physical, birthing experience is so metaphorical for that dark night of the soul, and
absolutely
letting go and surrendering, and getting to the other side of it, and that all is well.
Absolutely. So, you talk about birthing, sleep, death, meditation. Ironically, they're all connected. One of the terms I believe for meditation is the brief death, or it's all about, again, when you're giving birth, your rational mind's like, wow, this is heavy, right? It's got to kind of check out. And so it becomes this experience of your physical body opening up to the non-physical forces that are forcing the physical out of you. That's the birthing. Meditation is quieting the rational mind. So the science is you sit down quietly for about 5 or 6 minutes. The pineal gland, as you close your eyes, starts secreting melatonin and serotonin. So suddenly you're relaxing. So when you're relaxing, your neocortex and your neocortex brain says it's safe for your emotional body and your heart to open up. Boom. Now's that entrance. old memories. Oh, when I was 8 years old, my dad left the house. Oh God, I want to get out of that. So people pop out of that.
And I was also just thinking, dark nights of the soul, leading to a service heart, wanting to be able to give service, letting go of the ego. And really, I think what is left for a lot of people, once they've had enough dark nights of the soul, is how can I serve?
Yeah.
How that becomes such a pivotal, part of the process.
Yeah. It's a really good point. What it creates, as the emotions stream up the heart, it opens up the heart, and these powerful empathetic feelings of empathy, pathos, empathy start to open up. And when we start catharting and we start knowing our own emotions and accepting the fact, like, gosh, that was hard. Okay, but I've made it. I got these great lessons. Wow, that's powerful. Almost our first instinct is, I want to share that. I want to share this feeling of kind of releasing and understanding, becoming conscious. It's really, I'm sure you had the same feelings as you started to unwind and open up to who you were at a deeper level. The first thing you want to do is, God, I want to tell somebody about it. I want to share this. Right. And then that next step is, not only do I want to share it, I want to encourage them to start doing it. Right. And it's, in a way, you want people to join the party. So we're talking about joining the party of the dark night of the soul. It sounds counterintuitive. We're actually encouraging folks to go get uncomfortable. Think of that. Right. Not comfortable.
Sorry to interrupt. So often we're drugging, we're drinking, we're, overeating, sex, all these addictions, to numb ourselves. But we're talking about the, experience of allowing yourself to open up and be uncomfortable, sit with it and walk through it and see what's on the other side of it.
Exactly. And going back to that scariness, is that it is a lonely experience. I'd say one of the most powerful experience of the dark night is aloneness, feeling lonely, feeling, I mean, how many times I've had countless dark nights where I kind of look up and say, what is going on? Is there anything or anybody out there? I don't mean, I've got great friends, I've got great family, great kids, all that. It's not that they aren't there to help me. It's more like it's such a deep place of unwinding that you're wondering, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Is there anything out there? Is this for a reason? Mm-hmm. I don't have the answer to that. All I know is that it's such a tremendous experience. It's as intense a workout as I've ever had. And on the other side of that is this feeling of relaxation, of openness, and that everything's possible. Because when you break through that layer of your own kind of stuck emotions, you realize the world is a really powerful, eruptive, creative place. And I want to be part of that creative experience. In anything you do, it doesn't matter if you're, sweeping floors, or it doesn't matter. This is a creative experience. And when we kind of look at Kundalini and Dark Night of the Soul, it's the ultimate creative experience, because it's creating that full person. The full person is rational meeting irrational, left meeting right, yin meeting yang, women meeting man. Both those parts are in us, but they're kind of separated. We bring those together. That's a completing of a person. That's the most creative experience anybody can have.
Mm. And I was just thinking about encouraging our viewers. There might be viewers who have no idea what we're talking about. There might be viewers who are like, hey, I'm kind of awakening on some level, or, I don't want to, I'm avoiding that, ring of fire, essentially.
Yeah.
They call it ring of fire,
Yep.
It is a ring of fire. And, but it is that for a dark night of the soul, but I have experienced the more surrender I can bring to that, the easier it gets.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is coming in, I can surrender to it. And then as you're talking about on the other side, I've experienced, I know for myself, a peace, a relief, all this creative energy flowing in. I start writing blogs and, stuff.
It's going to change you on the health, your biophysical. It's the ultimate. I still believe this, and kind of my experience 15, 18 years ago was that I believe the non-physical, whether you call it soul or Atman or Allah, whatever you call that non-physical piece of you, there is a natural reboot button. It knows what it needs to do. It being that non-physical part of us, that non-physical means the rational doesn't really understand it, has a reboot button. And it's designed at some point, whether this lifetime or next, whether you believe in karma or not, or, different lifetimes, it's ready to reboot. And if you allow it to happen and trust it, then you're going to have a tremendous experience. I've read a lot, and I've been on a bunch of sites, and I talk to a lot of folks where they say, they're kind of steering people away from the Kundalini experience because it's so powerful and that it's so eruptive and it's so disruptive to people's lives. And I don't disagree with that. I do agree. It's a very disruptive process. But I also feel that waiting for the perfect time, it's kind of like waiting to have kids or waiting to get married or waiting to start that job or waiting to quit your job. You can wait a long time. It might be the next lifetime. I say right now, today, this moment, shut off the computer, turn off the phone, dim the lights, sit down quietly. Guarantee you there's going to be a powerful experience if you keep following that thread. Follow the sadness, follow the longing, follow the depression. You feeling depressed? Depression is the gap between what you desire and what you believe. I don't believe I can do this, and I really want to do it. Here's the gap. That's depression. How to narrow that gap? Sit quietly and start listening to that 8-year-old inside of you, that 5-year-old inside of you. I can tell you so many dreams that I have with my 14-year-old. When I was in my 30s and 40s, my 14-year-old was talking to me. The point is, there's this deep part of ourselves that we have to go find. Do it right now. There's no reason to wait.
And I'm thinking about you in 1996. You were on Wall Street with, your wife and 3 kids, and you went through this. My awakening was before kids, and first awakening. But you're right. We can't wait until our life is, perfect on the outside to be ready and willing to go inward. And meditation is really a path to that.
Absolutely. And I want to address just quickly that the dark night, the way you know it's time is if there's a feeling inside of you that you can't shake. Every day, let's say you have a good day at work, you come home, but you're not feeling complete. And that's that, something's missing. I don't know if it's a girlfriend or boyfriend, there's something, right? That is Kundalini. That is the energy inside. That's that little 8-year-old inside of you and I. That's something in there. It's calling you. It's calling you right now. And again, we've already said it, but the longer you wait to listen to that feeling, to that emotion, the longer it's going to take for you to undo it, complete it, and drive through and start becoming at a faster pace. Start becoming at a bigger, more creative pace. That's what we're here to do. And if you have kids, if you're not, what's the curse of the child? Is the unlived life of the parent. That's the curse. So if the unlived life of the parent is saying, not now, not today, I don't have time, it's too uncomfortable, I can't do it. I get it. But your kids need you to do it because your kids need their energy stream, their electrons to be better aligned. And how do they do it? Through the energy that you pass down the line. Dark night of the soul and Kundalini are so important to address and jump into. I know it's hard. Trust me, it's hard. Call us anytime you start jumping in, but it's got to be done.
Yeah. And
you got to be done for the next generations.
And I was just thinking, because I have a 4-year-old and, he certainly has no problem hysterically crying. And then a moment later, he's joyful. So I think about all these suppressed feelings that we as humans have, depression, versus the ability to really cry. So many of my clients, especially men that I'm working with, we work on teaching them to cry, because then Bill, you're huge on this. I know.
Oh God, I've got a PhD in crying. No, you have to.
It allows us to be able to then be available for our joy, if we're not able to keep going.
Absolutely. No, men don't die of heart attacks. Men die of broken hearts that look like heart attacks. A heart attack is a broken heart. What's a broken heart? An unexpressed emotion. Why do so many less women die of heart attacks, i.e. broken hearts? It's because women are better at crying and processing their emotions. I wish there was an easier way for men to process the things they've felt or haven't haven't let themselves feel enough. That's a broken heart. I could go on and on about the heart. The heart is the most important organ in the body. It's the least understood, and it's the one that stores all the stuff. The stuff of our lives is stored right here, and it's the place where we all run from. We got to run to.
And I was just thinking 3 key ingredients that I always say are the key to intimacy, whether it's intimacy with yourself or intimacy with others: courage, vulnerability, and authenticity.
Absolutely. I love it. And vulnerability, the big V, it's the most powerful verb, to be vulnerable, that anybody can do. Being vulnerable means I am allowing myself to be undone by my own emotions. And over time, I'm so comfortable with that is I'm going to share that with my spouse, with my girlfriend, with my boyfriend, with my kids. I'm going to share my sense of longing, as opposed to everything's fine. No, I'm going to share how I'm feeling. That will allow the other person to feel vulnerable. And actually, relationships don't really happen unless both parties are willing to be vulnerable with each other, because it brings them down to that real level. Yeah. If you can't be vulnerable with somebody else, you don't actually, in my opinion, have a real relationship with them.
Yeah, that's pretty profound. So, Bill, I would love to continue to do more of these, up some more topics.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful to be able to sit here with you after
Thank you.
So many years, and your teacher, dear friend, kindred spirit. And so my website, www.RebeccaRVelasquez.com, YouTube, Facebook, Rebecca R. Velasquez. I just came out with a book I wanted to quickly share. Soul Finds Love, and that's actually all about courage, self-love, vulnerability, and authenticity. So it's a children's book, but it's for older children, teens, and adults as well, and it's on Amazon. So beautiful. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
All right, take care.
Take care.